Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hello, friends. We are here on New Life Live, and we're taking calls for 2 hours today. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. My name is Brian Perez, and I'm here with clinical psychologist Dr. Jill Hubbard. How are you, Jill?
Hello, I am good.
Great to have you here. And
Thanks.
licensed marriage and family therapist Chris Williams joins us, too. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing great today. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah, so whatever you guys are going through, some kind of a struggle, marriage issues, parenting issues, maybe you're living a double life, nobody knows about it, well, call in. We can talk about this at 1-800-229-3000. What's on your mind, Chris?
Okay, I got a serious talk to have with you guys. It's about myself. Okay, so here's the thing.
You've run out of material, so now we're going to you.
Well, here's the material today. So in my life, there has been things where it could either be my own sin or it could be the sins of others. It could even be things that have happened in church or in my Christian walk and faith where how I understood God, how I understood how it was all supposed to work, stopped working. In fact, it was painful. And it really disrupted my faith in God, my understanding of God, my understanding of the Bible, in all the things around it. And I use this because, of course, I'm a part of that, but I work with a lot of people who have been harmed in church, who have experienced spiritual abuse or church abuse. And it can be so disruptive and even destructive to our faith and our relationship with God. And so what happens, and I'm stealing this from a theologian called Walter Brueggemann, and he talks about like we go through our early stages of life with an understanding he calls orientation. And then something will happen in our life that deeply disrupts that, and we move into disorientation, where the old way would never work anymore. And that is incredibly unsettling. Mm-hmm. It is incredibly anxiety and fear-producing and even depressing. And a lot of temptation is to go back to the old way or to burn down the old way, to burn down all ways. Mm-hmm. But Walter talks about that we need to stay with it long enough for God to move us into a state of reorientation, which oftentimes is a deepening of our faith. Yeah. And I think about that in my own life when we've worked through the pain and we've worked through the disappointment and we've rediscovered in a new way our relationship with God. That reorientation grounds us and roots us, to use Jesus' words in the Sermon on the Mount, on a rock where there is less sand or even sandstone. So I just want to encourage our listeners out there. There may be people out there that, you're listening and you're like, my life has been incredibly disruptive and I don't know about God anymore. I don't know about this Christianity anymore, and it doesn't make sense. One, you're not alone. And you're not alone as a Christian or a person of faith. But also I want to say that let's look at new ways to discover a new way forward, that we can get to reorientation, that new place with God. And we can see throughout scriptures, I was mentioning to you, Brian, that when we look at Hebrews chapter 11 and the lives that are represented in there, they're deeply marred by sin. Some of them, Samson's mentioned in there. Mm-hmm. They're also deeply marred by tragedy and trauma. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't discount the work of God in their life and what he's doing and how he's reoriented them to heaven over and over again.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. Now, the line that stuck out to me, which you were talking about right now, Chris, is that we need to stay with these things long term.
Yes.
We can't
Not
back
bail.
out. We have no idea how soon, if we just go another day or something. Now, I'm talking to people who might have been going through something for decades now, and they're just wondering, will I ever see a way out? Well, we can help you talk through it here on New Life Live, and we're going to be here for 2 hours. Please give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. We'll be right back.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to intimacy in marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy in Marriage workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy in Marriage weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We offer many intensives throughout the year. In fact, we've got one coming up this weekend. I'll tell you more about it a little bit later. But as you hear us talk about these intensives and you wonder, I'd love to go, but I don't think I can afford it right now. Well, we have need-based scholarships available here at New Life, so you can find out all about those when you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And we're going to go right to the phones right now. We are, is Wendy ready? I don't know if Wendy is ready. I see Wendy. Is she coming in? I'll count to 3. Hopefully she'll be ready in 3, 2, 1. Yes, there's Wendy. Hi there, Wendy, calling in from Denver, Colorado. I think this is the quickest we've ever put somebody on the radio. Welcome to the program. How can we help you, Wendy?
Thank you. I am wondering if I have missed a sign from the Lord. I've been praying for over 2 years for a situation that I just cannot seem to make heads or tails of, and I want to trust him. He's all I have. I do not trust a soul on this planet except for him, and I feel like I am alone. And so I'm like, Lord, you're all I have. You're the only one, so I have to trust you. And I'm still living in this situation when I don't want to be living in this situation anymore. But I don't know how to leave. First of all, it's my marriage, and I sing for a living, and my business is under my husband's name because I have a disability. So if I were to leave, then I can't do what I love anymore. And that is strictly what's holding me here, and I don't know.
Well, tell me about your marriage. What's going on there?
Well, I first grew up in a horrible, dysfunctional life in a nutshell. I had a Christian mother, evil father who hated women, hated God, all of that. He and my mother allowed my oldest sibling to break my bones and crack my head and take me in the back room and do what he wanted with me sexually and all this, everything, till I was 27. And then moved from that into just being alone. I met my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time. I dated him. I did not marry him for 13 years because I was so terrified of ending up in the same kind of marriage that I grew up in. So long story short, we've been married 28 years. And we both are Christians. I grew up in church, and he grew up around it. And then we both decided, when he gave up drinking and came back to the Lord, then I married him 13 years after we dated. So we got married. We've been married 28 years. About 2003 and before that, I would find condoms. I would find little hints. He would text other women and be alone with other women and coworkers and so forth and so on. But he constantly gaslights and lies to me, and he would just sweep everything under the rug. So everything just kept happening that way. We kept living a life of, I call it just fantasy life. It's not real. We're just pretending in front of everybody that we're in church and we're smiling and, they're the best couple and look how the Lord has blessed them and they're together and da-da-da. And we get along great. He is a wonderful person. He really is. But in 2018, 7.5 years ago, we got a little puppy. And when we got that dog, he started sleeping on the couch, did not touch me again till this day. So I cried in the window for 2.5 years every night going, Lord, what did I do wrong? Who am I? Why and then I thought maybe it's a guy thing. I'll leave him alone, and I'm just glad to be with him. He don't hit me. He's not abusive. He works hard, and he's a good husband. So shut your mouth and quit complaining because you have a good man that God blessed you with. So you need to just be quiet and not complain. And then last year, or 2 years, 2023 in February, I was scheduled for a surgery. And right before my surgery, I found a giant bottle of Viagra downstairs in our bathroom, and there were 14 pills missing. So when I confronted him with it. He looked me right in the face, and he said, I don't know what you think you found. I never had that. I don't know what you're talking about. I never had that. That's not true. Then we went to our pastors for counseling, and my pastors told me, well, he's really sincere when he says he didn't have it, and you're sincere when you said you found it, but since you don't have like a picture or any kind of proof, it's really hard for us to believe, and we don't know who to believe.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. What do you guys think?
I feel like...
So Wendy, let us jump in, because unfortunately we've heard this many times, and I'm so sorry. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned that we've heard this many times, so you know that you have people that know that this thing is happening, and it's happened to you, and it's real, and it's painful.
Right. Yes.
So I'm going to start with an overarching, 30,000-foot theme. Because one of the things the thing you said early on that sunk my heart was, I do not trust a soul.
Nope.
Which tells me the rest of the story that you gave detail to. People have been painful.
Right.
Yeah.
They are.
And your husband continues the pattern of deep pain.
Right.
Yeah.
The one person I was supposed to protect me and love me and value me doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think coming from the family you came from, yes, you found a good guy, you waited, what you thought was a good guy, right? And he's not all bad. So sometimes our bar is not as high as it needs to be, right? Sometimes it's like when you said, he doesn't hit me. Well, that's a really low bar, Wendy. Mm-hmm. But it's better than your family. And so, right? And so that, felt much better. But he has, deep secrets and ways of being with you, right? That in a sense, he's not coming right out and being directly aggressive, but it's in the shadows here.
Right. And my father he would tear my mother down with his words horribly. And when I discovered the first affair, or whatever you want to call it, back in 2003 with his coworker, he got real comfortable with saying things like, well, I'm not even attracted to you. I have a sexual block on you. I tell you I'm sorry when I don't even have a reason to be sorry. I just tell you that, just shut you up, because I hate the sound of your voice. He would say things like that.
Yeah, so that's we call that a verbal punch.
Yeah.
He does hit you.
Yes.
Right?
So this is your husband says these things?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Wendy, the question now for you is, what do you need now? Mm-hmm. Because you are not in a safe situation. You're in a very dangerous situation, and it feels like you're dealing with a disability. There's things that have piled up. You don't have a family that you can go to that's going to support you. And so what I want to encourage you to do, and I'm so glad that you called in today, because we want to be able to guide you into connecting you with safe people. Mm-hmm. Because you're right, I wouldn't trust a soul either if I've been around others who have damaged my soul as much as they've damaged yours. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, our trauma tries to tell us that this is what everyone is like.
Yeah.
But it's not true. Mm-hmm. It's true in the people that you're around. And this is the other thing, is trauma also makes decision. Our pain makes decisions. Your pain made a decision, like what Jill was saying. It set an incredibly low bar. Mm-hmm. But the low bar was yourself to begin with. Because people treated you poorly. You didn't know that you could expect so much more and get so much more from other people.
Right.
So I
kick myself because I keep moving that bar. And I'm like, am I moving that goalpost and just making things easier? And I kick myself every day. Am I allowing this?
I understand that. And to some degree, yes, but it's all that you've known. So we need to have deep compassion for that.
Right. I mean, it's what you watched your mother do, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. And the last person on the planet I want to be like is her. She hates me, and my father hates me too. And I'm like, he hated me. He passed away, but she kicked me out of her life after I took care of her my entire life.
Wow.
I gave up, fame. I could have sang, and I was singing already in Las Vegas and doing things for myself that were just wonderful. I was so happy, but I came back to take care of her out of 5 siblings who would not.
Yeah.
And then she kicked me out of her life, and now I'm like, I wasted all that time trying to prove to people and validate, look at me, I'm good.
Yeah.
Look at me, I can help you.
Well,
I'm lovable.
Yes. And you are, Wendy. You were just looking to broken people who couldn't give that to you because they themselves, how lovable does your mother feel in all that she endured, right? And so right? She just dumped that all on you as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I saw that in her, that she was so defeated, and she was a Christian, and I would hear her pray over people and talk in tongues and all that, and the Lord would be so great and heal everything. And then we'd be at home, and she'd be going, "Oh God, I have to take a pill. I have to take a pill. I have to take a pill for my nerves." And she'd be freaking out, and I'm going, "Where's this big, great, wonderful God that you're talking about? Where is He?"
Well, Wendy, that's where we want to offer you a new and different path and a new and different way. So you can't repeat what your mom did and expect it to work, even though, as I talked about in the opening, that could be really disruptive to your faith. Because there's two things. You need a healing process that heals out those wounds that have happened to you and that you're carrying in your own soul. You also need healing relationships. You need a redemptive community. I would say a community of women who can come alongside of you and love you and guide you and care for you, as well as work out some struggles with you.
So, Wendy, I don't know if you have sought out therapy, but that's often a good place to start with a trusted... Go ahead.
Yes, I am so counseled out. Our years together, we've gone to counseling, and when we get there, my husband's like, "Well, I thought everything was okay. I don't know. I don't know what's going on."
But I mean just for you, Wendy.
I did. I alone. All these years I go and go and go and go. And, I'm just feeling like I'm working on myself, but he makes zero effort. And so I don't know if it's worth even going anymore because I'm like so counseled out. I feel like I'm just venting there. I feel like I just
Well, let me offer a different solution then, because what I don't want you to be able to do is go to therapy and work on your marriage. There's nothing to work. There's nothing to work on there.
No, I know this.
Yeah. I want to be able to work on what you've been through. That would be a trauma specialist. I think a really, really good place to start, Wendy, would be our Restore workshop. I think it'd be absolute. I can't recommend that highly enough for where you are in your life right now. Moving, mountains and whatever is in your way to get there, I think would be critically important, because that weekend could set your life in a whole different and new trajectory that allows you to connect with, one, yourself really well, God really well, and other people really well.
The next Restore Healing After Betrayal Intensive is next weekend in Dallas, Texas. I don't know if that's too short notice for you, Wendy, but we have them throughout the year. So you can check out newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Just jump in and go for
Just
it,
go.
Wendy.
Go
Just
for it.
go.
Yes. Just go.
Yes. Because this community of...
I wanted to do that, and I got scheduled for surgery again. Because when I was a kid, also on top of everything, I got dragged by a drunk driver. And he almost killed me. And so over all the years since 1977, I've been dealing with this foot issue. And now I have to go in for 2 surgeries to repair what a doctor did incorrectly.
And do we have a course?
After I found the Viagra.
So we're going to send you Dr. Sherry Keffer's book, Intimate Deception. But we really do want you to go. Or would trust be better? I mean, Trust is available on the newlife.com store. We have several resources. We have a library at newlife.com.
Intimate Deception.
Yeah.
Okay, we're debating here.
Yeah.
They both would be good.
They both would be awesome.
We'll start with one because they're both big books.
Yes. But the Restore Healing After Betrayal Intensive would be good for you because you'll find that community of women that Chris and Jill were just talking about. Because if Wendy goes back to her church, I mean, these are people that
Well, these are people that her husband has fooled.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
how
you need
is
to
she
be
going
outside of
yeah.
that. So I
Yeah.
would also recommend 12-step communities.
Yes.
There are groups, codependent groups for people who have been abused, things like that, where you can be in a place where they keep confidentiality and people dive in and share deep.
Absolutely.
Yep, we've got them available on our website too, newlife.com. Look for the link for the life recovery groups, because this is something that you need. You need a community of other people, like-minded people, people that have gone through what you're going through. We can all come alongside each other. That's what we do here on New Life Live. We try to put you on that path to recovery, whether it's you that's been betrayed or you've been the betrayer and now you're trying to make amends and trying to figure out what the rest of your life is going to be like. We can help you here at New Life, and that's why we're here. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000, and we're taking calls for 2 hours today with Dr. Jill Hubbard and Chris Williams.
Early on, looking at pornography that went into affairs, massage parlors, strip clubs with buddies. Before you know it, you're ashamed of that.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
My wife got a phone call, and she asked me who this person was, and man, how do I get myself out of this one?
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
When she said to me, I want you to look at this website named Every Man's Battle, she had me look, and I said, no, this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly the problems I have, and I'm gonna go.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Washington, D.C., April 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Licensed marriage and family therapist Chris Williams is here to answer your questions. So is clinical psychologist Dr. Jill Hubbard, the always color-coordinated Dr. Jill Hubbard, I should say, as you can see if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube. And if you're not, now you're going to go to Facebook or YouTube to see what I'm talking about. To the phones now, here is Salai listening in Richardson, Texas on KWRD. Welcome, Salai, to New Life Live.
Hello.
Hi, how can we help you today?
Me and my wife, we are married 9 years, and then suddenly we had a lot of issue going, and then my son, he has not very feeling good. He's 10-year-old, and then I have 8-year-old. She is very strong, and then 4-year-old. She is very strong. We have very good family like before, but suddenly it's the issue coming to our family, and then I don't know how to fix it. And then my wife says she wants me to leave from the house for 3 weeks, and then after 3 weeks I come back. She changed the lock, and then she bring me up to the court. She wants to divorce, and then this is the case is 2 years already. We cannot finish, and then I keep praying my wife to forgive me and to accept me as who I am, and then but I don't know how to fix by myself and how to make my wife happy again. That's why I keep praying so I can help from somebody, but I don't have any choice how to do and what to do. So I lost everything.
Well, Salai, what happened?
What?
Like, what was the reason she wants a divorce?
The first time she say like I have like anger. I have a lot of anger. Yeah, I accept it. I don't know how to control my anger. And then I went to anger class, anger management class, and then like 3 months I was finished. And then like still another thing is like after that she complained me about I'm not like faithful, and I don't have any girlfriend. I don't have like one time my friend he just sent me like how to say a movie from like how to say to like porn movie or something like that. He sent me and then, hey, look this guy is look like you, and then like, I thought like this is like normal movie or something like that. And when I watch, there's like coming like sexual people are having sex, something like that. And then like when I watching, my wife next to me, and then she thought like, oh, you watching a lot of like porn addictions. No, actually I'm not. So and then she was like, she saw me when I watched that one, and like, so she said you are not faithful. And then he texted to my dad, and he texted to my church pastor. Oh, he's not faithful, something like that. He texted me, and then like I asked to her, my wife, I'm not watching a lot.
Salai, has your wife been trying to tell you that you needed to work on things for a long time? I mean, she's...
Yes.
Yeah, because I think it sounds like maybe with your anger problem and things of trustworthiness that she's having doubts about. If she's been telling you for a long time and trying to get you to make some changes, she's now at a point where she's really serious about getting your attention. And I think locking you out of the house, I imagine, isn't a first response, but maybe a 20th or 30th response or 100th response. And so it's important, I think, for you to look at not just currently where you're at, and it is distressing, right? So you're having to look at this, but what has led up to this? Not just about defending, okay, have you done porn or not done porn? Why would my wife even suspect me of doing these things? What has gone on between us where I have made her feel so unsafe, or that she couldn't count on me or trust me? Now, I don't know what's in your wife's background, because often if there are things like that in her background, she's going to have a heightened level of suspicion and maybe falsely accuse. But at the same time, there has to have been reasons why she would be feeling less than safe and disconnected from you, really. And so I think it's really important at this time for you to reflect and really own anything you can and say, I realize, wife, you are trying to get my attention, and I have been dense. I have not really fully heard your hurt and your despair over our marriage, and you have helped me to see it now. And I realize my anger has been tearing away at the trust in our marriage. And I have been trying to work on it, but I realize I've damaged you, and I need to do a lot of repair. Tell me what you need from me at this time.
Yeah.
See, so it's not about, no, I haven't done porn. No. The more you defend, the more you dig a hole that you're not going to be able to get out of. You've got to flip the narrative and look at her hurt and what you've done, and you've got to humble yourself. Because she's serious. She's had enough. She's at her wit's end because she's done this with 3 kids. So you need to see this as a serious sign from her.
And if Salai is trying to show his wife that he is worthy of her trust, perhaps he should read a book that we have in the newlife.com store called Worthy of Her Trust. We're going to send you a copy if you'll hold on the line, Salai. Okay?
All right.
Thank you for calling in today from Richardson, Texas. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back with more of your questions. Steve, you are next on New Life Live, and we're taking calls for 2 hours today at 1-800-229-3000.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch listening to all this great information and not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're in the middle of a $500,000 matching gift right now, so when you give, the impact goes twice as far. Here's what one donor recently told us about why their family gives to New Life. New Life has been a lifeline that helps my family through the storms of life, as well as the average everyday things of life. We find support through the radio program and other ministry resources. I encourage everyone who's been helped by this ministry to step forward with a gift. So would you give today? Your gift will go twice as far because of this $500,000 matching gift. If you benefit from this program, if you're a longtime listener, a first-time listener, and you see the impact that we have on people's lives, you can come alongside us by contributing at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or call New Life or newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I'm getting so excited over this.
You are.
You can also text the word match to 28950. We're going to go back to the phones with Steve, but first, Chris wanted to add something to our previous caller.
Yeah, we were just
Salai.
talking at the break, and I think one of the things for Salai is that it was evident in our conversation with him that he really struggled to understand and know how to do closeness in relationship, what we talk about with intimacy, and so learning how to be close. And I think getting into two things, I think some individual therapy and group therapy. Mm-hmm. Group therapy is a great place to learn how to do closeness, how to set boundaries, how to share of the self, how to build trust. But ultimately, we all need a place to know and be known. Mm-hmm. And if we didn't get that growing up, we don't know how to do it when we're all grown up. Mm-hmm. And so we got to learn how to do that. And I think that would be a great place for Salai to do his work.
All right.
And wait, let me just say, and even though his wife is shutting him out, she will watch.
Oh, yes.
She will watch his actions more than hear his words.
That's right.
For sure. Steve in Washington, D.C., thank you for calling in today. And it looks like you listen to us on Sirius XM Channel 131. Thanks for listening and thanks for calling today.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Yeah. What's going on? How can we help you?
I was married for 37 years. My wife and I are Christians. We raised two daughters. They got married to some really terrific guys. And my wife was a registered nurse. She was struck down with MS quite unexpectedly. There was no history, no anything. It flattened her. She had to learn how to walk again and so forth. And of course I was right there. I was, as a caregiver and a loving husband, and, trying to nurture her through the therapy and all that sort of stuff. When she finally got back on her feet, she went back to her employer and asked if she could get her job back, and they said, no, you're a liability. Well, that shook her world, because she had gone to nursing school and had worked really hard to become who she was. And for her to lose everything, it destroyed her. Next thing I knew, one day, there's a note on the table, I've left to go find myself. And it turned out she was going back to her home state, where there was a fellow who had asked her to marry him back in high school. And she got excited over the prospect, I guess, of being with this guy. 3 separate times she left to be with him. 3 separate times she came back. Here's my question. I was really struggling because obviously I don't want to see the demise of the relationship. We had what I thought was a healthy relationship. I saw myself as a covenant keeper. I see marriage as a covenant. And so I wasn't ready to throw in the towel and stop contributing to the covenant, if you will. And I remember asking a pastor at random, what do I do about this? And he said, wait a minute. How many times does she have to break the covenant before you realize you're free? Well, boy, I tell you what, free in God's eyes is, I guess, what he was talking about. But I still haven't gotten over this idea of my obligation to covenant. So folks, where does covenant end?
I think a better question is, where does covenant begin? Because it begins with two people.
I think it begins at
but it begins with, I'm saying, with two people.
Yes.
But Steve, I'm going to be honest. I think covenant is a distraction right now and not a help. Because to your pastor's point, it's like, well, she broke the covenant, but the covenant holds them, like, is sort of like the agreement. So, but it's not the marriage itself. Marriage is a bazillion other things than just covenant. And so there is something missing in the marriage. I'm not saying that it's your fault, at all. I'm just saying by focusing on the covenant, because then you're going to leverage yourself against your wife. Well, I've kept the covenant and you haven't, and then you just need to keep the covenant. And I'm telling you, that's not going to work.
But let me just interject, though. When you are the person who has kept your vows, kept your covenant, right? When someone breaks it, you realize how strong of an agreement it actually is.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
And the devastation of the brokenness. And so it's hard when you're like, oh my gosh, this is serious.
Yeah.
And I made a vow before God, and I kept this covenant. And so it's like, it's like if you're two people holding a wishbone, it's like you're holding half of the wishbone and the other half is gone, right? Yeah. And you're still like holding it, thinking it's together, but you're holding it up something, like you're saying, that's meant for two.
Yes.
And so it's not really what it was intended to be.
Yes, yeah.
So I need a better analogy than the wishbone, but
well,
it always
I think,
comes
no,
to
I'm,
mind.
I'm,
like you're holding
the
half and it's not a wishbone.
I'm going to take the metaphor a step further. You're holding the wishbone, but you got the smaller piece of the stick.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
you did, and it's really nothing. It's just a stick. Now.
Well, and the wishbone represents the heart.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're dealing with a broken heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's. I'm so glad that you said that, Jill, because that's a very, very, very serious thing. And we can't minimize the damage of infidelity.
Yeah.
And the damage that it's caused to you, Steve, and your heart. And so in those things, when we're heartbroken and we can't make sense of it, we're going to try to make sense of it. And the way that you've made sense of it is the covenant, which is a great way to make sense of it. But she has not honored that. And that she's in this place of vacillating between going to, is it 3 times back and forth. I'm like, well, unless God has called you like Hosea, to be like, no, you got to stick in it as a representation of me, which listen, God didn't do that with everyone, but one person he did. But that's got to be crystal clear. The other aspect of it, though, is going to do the work for you, Steve, of like beyond covenant. What does it mean to be married to me? And wife, can you do it? And here's what it's going to look like.
Yeah, because just because she's broken it, right? If she's, humbled and remorseful and wants to work on it, you can choose to stay in it.
Well, and she has to do the actual work of repentance, leaving
absolutely
the old this relationship.
She has to cut that out like a cancer.
The unbelievable hard work of repair.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve, this is not a magical number. It's not even a hard and fixed number. But I say this to couples that come into my office that have experienced infidelity. I say, hey, you're going to need to put 7 years in your back pocket right now. Because I'm not saying that 7 years is going to take 7 years, or it may take longer, sure, I don't know. But that's kind of the standard, that if you don't have that in you, then don't start right now. Yeah. Make a different decision.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah.
7 years is a really long time when you think about it.
It is, but we
at
have,
least 5.
Yeah, we have to respect how long these triggers last in infidelity. Betrayal trauma is so different in the sense that betrayal trauma is a pain and hurt that's happening to you that you don't know is happening to you until it's already done.
Yeah.
And so it flips the internal world upside down. And to our previous caller, back to Wendy, it's like you can't trust anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's for the person that needs that healing that I say 7 years before you stop looking back over your shoulder. And you feel like you have a really, really firm foundation of restored trust that you can walk on in the relationship where you're not falling through the trapdoors of triggers all the time.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so I wasn't, when I said the 7 years is a long time, I wasn't disputing or anything. I was just
clarifying,
thinking about it, that's going to be, I mean, if you, like you said, if you don't think you can put up or go through this for another 7 years, then look for another option.
Yeah.
What do you think of that 7 years, Steve? Steve, are you there?
I'm still hanging on this idea that the covenant, yes, I am. And I still am hanging on this notion that the covenant is somewhat inconsequential. I just can't get there.
Well, the covenant means something, and she's broken it, but you guys need a covenant, and you need a lot more than that, is what we're saying.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Jill? We have a few seconds.
Well, just that your wife, Steve, would need to really dig in and do some work, because obviously the MS, as well as the loss of job, really sent her into a tailspin.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll look for a resource to send you from the newlife.com store, unless you guys can think of one off the top of your heads right now, and then we'll come back with more of your questions, and we're taking calls for 2 hours today at 1-800-229-3000. Chanel, Millie, Phil, anyone else who wants to call in today, 1-800-229-3000.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Mother's Day is coming, Father's Day is coming, graduation is coming, and we've got lots of gifts that you can give to your loved ones on the newlife.com store. Check it out because it's always there. Maybe there's a birthday coming up. Well, go to newlife.com and click on the store, and you can find something for that special someone. To the phones now we go. Here is Chanel in Dallas, Texas, listening online. Hi there, Chanel. How can we help you today?
Hi there. I guess it's more affirmation and also just helping me to, honestly, just seeking wisdom about going forward with regards to my marriage. There's so much and I'm trying to organize my thoughts. How do you put it all together in like a minute or two? But my husband David and I, we moved to Texas 2 years ago, but prior to that, we've been married it'll be 6 years next month. Met him, we met in our 40s. We're both, late 40s, but we met in our early 40s, fell in love. I wasn't supposed to have kids. He had a dream about it. God gave him a dream, and we had a baby, which is amazing. And, and so everything about our marriage to begin just seemed like, man, God, you have blessed my life in so many ways, more than I had experienced in my life before. Never been married before. He'd been married 2 times prior. I'll mention a few things because they are points of contention now that I just don't know how to get back. They would seem trivial, I would imagine, maybe to someone else, but in our marriage, they have remained an issue.
Okay.
Before I met my husband, I had to come to the truth of the fact that I lived a sexually immoral life. I was just a single woman, just kind of dating and compartmentalized my sexual life, like as if I trusted God for many other things, but this part of my life I had not trusted him with as far as relationships were concerned because of the wreckage and so much I experienced in my life. So I didn't submit that part of my life to God. When I met David, amazing person, and I sensed that he was forever to me, and I wanted to be a better person than what I had been in my past. So I was not forthright about who I was before him.
So how is it that we can help you today? And I'm only asking because I don't want to run out of time before we address your
Understood.
concern.
So that has been a point of contention in our marriage. He finding out that I wasn't that person anymore, because I literally am walking in repentance and living and loving God. That's just been my life. All he's ever seen is me loving God and honoring God. I've never been unfaithful in our marriage, nothing. But when that came out, it sent him in a tailspin. It sent him into binge drinking, and he has been a high-functioning binge drinker throughout our marriage. Verbal abuse has been so heavy that it has broken me in so many ways I cannot explain it. He has, and so with that, it's like he has told me they're not going to give a restraining order because it's verbal abuse. I already know it's not a thing. And so I've forgiven. There's been text messages and things that have sent inappropriate messages sent to women over the years that has broken me in so many ways. But he has always come back to be repentant. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I repent. And
so are you saying that he has a past of acting out, but because you didn't tell him about yours, now he's in a tailspin? But it was okay for him, but you needed to be the pure one. Oh, okay. Yes. So there's a little split there for him.
There's a huge split, right? This is unfortunately very toxic narcissistic behavior of an addict is that an addict doesn't need an excuse to drink, use, or act out, but they always prefer one.
They capitalize on them.
They always prefer it. And so, Chanel, he is weaponizing your past against you as a justification for his out-of-control behavior.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if that's what ended his previous marriages.
Yeah, riddle.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say riddle me that one. Is that what ended his previous two?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't those work out?
Yeah.
You know,
his ex-wife, the one that was, that is sane, seemingly. When I told her, because I just confided in her, I didn't know who to talk to. I said, "Hey, David's drinking again." She said, "Leave now. If he's drinking now, leave."
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So I want you to heed that advice in the sense that, we're not advocating for like divorce right now.
No, but he has to get help.
But there's a clear sign that you're not safe.
Yeah.
Even just based on your own report, on your own telling of what's been happening to you.
Don't think that you're different and more special, I'm sorry to say, than the previous wife. And if she's giving you that advice, right, that's in hindsight for her.
She knows
and
something.
what she's lived through. So then, approach it differently. And preemptively, like, set those strong boundaries that he has to get help. Because there's a pattern here.
He has been mandated now. So prior to this, he, just really quickly, I've tried everything. We've been in therapy, but every time something happens where he's acted out, he retreats because he doesn't want to be accountable for the bad behavior.
Yes.
Now that there recently there was an instance in which it became physical, in which he was trying to take my phone from me and physically harm me. I called the police, and I felt bad about that. But my child was like, "Mom, this has been going on for a while now with verbal." And so I pressed charges, and now the Child Protective Services has told him he must leave our home for 30 days. So I have many thoughts. I know that this is right. I still struggle with, what am I like this?
So Chanel, like one of the very, very common patterns. So first off, thank God that you've done what you've done.
Yes.
And keep working really
hard.
Really strong boundaries. Because one of the things that these hard traumatic experiences, relational trauma wants to always, and I really believe this is a trick of the enemy, to tell us that we're the ones that's wrong.
Yeah.
That you're bad.
Yeah.
And that's where I want you to be in a community. That's where I want you to be in therapy. That's where I want you to have really strong support of voices in your life that says, "No, Chanel, you're doing the right thing." It's hard and it's difficult.
And this is the way. Doing the hard thing is what could possibly save your marriage, Chanel. Because he is a different person once he starts using.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
He's a different person. And so that's not the person you want in your marriage. And so it needs to be extreme. So he will get the help.
And I think one of the things that, I encourage people in these situations is to get very clear on what it means to be married to you. What it means to be married to me is that you're sober.
Yeah.
Hard stop. Like there's no exceptions to that. So if you can't be sober, then you can't be married to me.
Okay.
In these situations where his addiction makes him a very fundamentally dangerous person, and do not think that it will stop at you. You have another one there to protect. That's why if child services are coming in and saying what they're saying, they aren't looking out for you. They're looking out for your child.
Okay.
Should we send her something from the newlife.com store? Maybe Take Your Life Back, or what are you guys thinking?
I think the Emotional Freedom Workbook would be helpful.
All right. Okay, so Chanel, stay on the phone, and everyone listening right now, please keep Chanel and her children in your prayers as she goes through this. Man, what a tough situation. Okay, it's time for us to go to break. We will be back with more of your calls because we're going to be here taking calls for another hour at 1-800-229-3000. I see Millie and Phil on the line, so stay on hold. We'll get to you in just a little bit. Make sure you visit newlife.com to find out about everything that we do, all the intensives that we've got coming up here shortly.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.